Kal Halal, Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Greetings to all the Israelites. We're going to do part 6 of prayers for deliverance, strength, and endurance. Right, let's go to the book of Judith and the Apocrypha. And we'll go to chapter 4, prayer of penance. So the Israelites did as they had been ordered by the high priest Joachim and the senate of the people of Israel in sessions at Jerusalem, and every man of Israel cried out to Yahweh Elohim with great fervor, and they humbled themselves with much fasting. They and their wives and their children and their cattle and the residents, alien and hired labor and purchased slaves, they all put sackcloth around their waist, and all Israelite men, women, and children living at Jerusalem prostrated themselves before the temple and put ashes on their head and spread out their sackcloth before Yahweh Elohim. They even draped the altar with sackcloth and cried out in unison, praying fervently to Yahweh Elohim Israel, not to allow their infants to be carried off and their wives to be taken as booty, and they and the towns they had inherited to be destroyed, and the sanctuaries to be profaned and desecrated to the malicious joy of the Gentiles. The Most High heard their prayers and had regards for their distress. For the people fasted many days through Judea and Jerusalem before the sanctuary of the Almighty Elohim. The high priest Joachim and all the priests who stood before the Most High and ministered to the Most High with sackcloth around with their loins, offered the daily burnt offerings, the votive offerings, and freewill offerings of the people. With ashes on their turbans, they cried out to Yahweh Elohim with all their might to look with favor on the whole house of Israel. You must be supposed to be doing on the Sabbath, man. You know what I mean? If you're not doing videos, doing work, you're supposed to at least be reading, you know. No, it ain't easy, but you got to do it, man. Now, let's go to prayer of Judith, that's chapter 9. Then Judith prostrated herself with ashes on her head and uncovered the sackcloth which she was wearing. At the very time when the evening incense was being offered in the house of Yahweh Elohim of Jerusalem, Judith cried out to the Most High with a loud voice, saying, O Yahweh, O Elohim of my ancestors, Simeon, to whom you gave a sword to take revenge on those strangers who had torn off the virgin's clothing, to defile her and exposing her thighs to put her to shame, and polluted her womb with disgrace. Her, for you said it should not be done, yet they did. So you gave up the rulers to be killed, and gave up the rulers to be killed in their beds, which was the shame of the deceit they had practiced was stained. It says it was stained with blood, and when you struck down slaves along with princes on their thrones, you gave up their wives for booty and their daughters to captivity, and all their booty to be divided amongst your beloved children, who burned with zeal for you and abhorred the pollutions of their blood and called on you for help. O Yahweh Elohim, my Elohim, hear me also a widow. Hear me also a widow. So Judas is a widow too. For you have done these things, and those that went before and those that follow, you have designed the things that are now, and those that are to come, that you had in mind has happened. The things you decided on present themselves, and said, here we are. For all your ways are prepared in advance, and your judgment is with foreknowledge. Here now are the Syrians, a great increased force, pretty much, zodiac, the world, the force, priding themselves in their horses and riders, boasting in their strength of the foot soldiers, and thrusting in the shield and spear and bow and sling. They do not know that you are the mighty Most High, who crushes wars. Yahweh Elohim is your name. Break their strength by your might, and bring down their power on your anger. For they intend to defile your sanctuary, and to pollute the tabernacles where your glorious name resides, and to break off the horns of your altar with the sword. Look at their pride and send your wrath upon their heads. Give to me a widow the strong hand to do what I plan. By the deceit of my lips, strike down the slave with the prince, and the prince with her servant. Crush their arrogance by the hand of a woman. For your strength does not depend on numbers, nor your might on the powerful. But you are Yahweh Elohim of the lowly, the helper of the oppressed, upholder of the weak, protector of the forsaken, savior of those without hope. Please, Yahweh Elohim of my father, Yahweh Elohim of the heritage of Israel, Most High of the heavens and earth, creator of the waters, kings of all your creation, hear my prayer. Make my deceitful words bring wound and bruise on those who have planned cruel things against your covenant, and against your sacred house, and against Mount Zion, and against the house your children possess. Let your whole nation and even every tribe know and understand that you, Yahweh Elohim, are the living power and almighty, and there is no other who protects the people of Israel but you alone. Now that was nice, man. Judith come hard. That's in the Apocrypha, but they took this book out, you know. They do shit like that, man. So let's proceed, man. We'll go with okay, we'll do Judith offer Judith offers her hymn and praise. That's the last chapter. Judith began this thanksgiving before all Israel, and all the people loudly sang this song of praise. And Judith began a song to Yahweh Elohim with tabarines, sing to the Most High with cymbals, raise to him a new psalms, exalt him and call upon his name. She said, for the Most High Yahweh Elohim, who crushes wars, he set up his camp among his people. He delivered me from the hands of my pursuers. The Syrians came down from the mountains of the north. He came with myriads of his warriors, chariots. Their numbers blocked up the wadis, and their cavalry covered the hills. He boasted that he would burn up my territory and kill my young men with the sword, and dash my infants to the ground, and seize my children as booty, and take virgins as spoil. But Yahweh Elohim Almighty has foiled them by the hand of a woman, for the mighty one did not fall by the hands of the young men, nor did the sons of the Titans strike him down, nor did the tall giant sit upon him, but Judith, daughter of Merari, with the beauty of her countenance, undid him, for she put away her widow's clothing to exalt the oppressed in Israel. She anointed her face with perfume, and she fastened her hair with a tiara, and put on linen linen gown to beguile him. Her sandals ravished his eyes, her beauty captivated his mind, and the sword served his neck. The Persians trembled at her boldness. The Medes were taunted at her daring. Then my oppressed people shouted, my weak people cried out, and the enemy trembled. They lifted up their voices, and the enemy were turned back. Sons of slave girls pierced them through, and wounded them like the children of fugitives. They perished before the army of the Most High. I will sing to Yahweh Elohim a new song. O Yahweh Elohim, you are great and glorious, wonderful in strength and invincible. Let all your creatures serve you, for you spoke and they were made. You sent forth your spirit, and it formed them. There is none that can resist your voice. For the mountains shall be shaken to their foundations with the waters. Before your glance, the rocks shall melt like wax. But to those who fear you, you show mercy. For every sacrifice as a fragrant offering is a small thing, and the fat of all who burn offerings to you is very little thing. But whoever fears Yahweh Elohim is great forever. Woe to the nations that rise up against my people. The Most High, Yahweh Almighty, will take vengeance on them in the day of judgment. He will send fire and worms in their flesh. They shall weep in pain forever. When they arrive at Jerusalem, they worship Elohim. As soon as the people were purified, they offered their burnt offerings, their free will offerings, and their gifts. Judith also dedicated to Yahweh Elohim all the possessions of her Holofernes, which the people had given her, and the canopy that she had taken for herself from her bedchamber. She gave as a votive offering. For 3 months the people continued feasting in Jerusalem before the sanctuary, and Judith remained with them. So you know what I'm saying? She restored them, but she brought victory to the people out there. This edifying. We'll do one more before the sun goes down. You know what I'm saying? Most High be winning, providing always. Meditate on the word. That's what we do on the Sabbath. And Shalom.